What's up, adventurers? Welcome to another video. I hope this video sees you well. Today, we will be talking about the cost of living as a digital nomad in Medellin, Colombia. So, my name is Garrett Galvin. I'm an adventure videographer, photographer who lives and works around the world. I recently got sent to Colombia for a couple adventure motorcycle projects and hiking adventures. And I had a butt ton of editing to do after these projects. So I decided to pick Medellin, Colombia, since I've heard so many good things about it, to be that spot that I would hang out for a few months and get some work done. So for this video, I'll be breaking it down to a few categories: accommodation, co-working, gyms, eating out, and grocery shopping. Let's get started. All right, so probably the first thing you're gonna be interested in is accommodation. Where are you gonna stay? What are some of the better areas, and how much is the price usually? With this said, I wanna point out that I always stay in Airbnbs for the most part, just because as a fairly transient digital nomad, it is really hard for me to come into certain countries and sign a contract. So typically I'll just go on Airbnb, look at the prices, find a price that works for me, find an area that works for me, and I'll book through that. I know it is a little bit more expensive, but there is some solid pros about using Airbnb. Firstly, the value of simplicity. Super simple. It includes water, sewer, utilities, everything's included. I don't have to worry about it. Internet, TVs, Netflix, all that stuff is usually just thrown in there, and I love it. Secondly, when there's trouble with the landlord, usually Airbnb is the moderator. So I recently, when I was in New York, I got my Airbnb broken into. Check out that vlog right there. That's a good one. But Airbnb came through and it really helped me out in figuring out how to kind of navigate that. Oh, and then get this, the owner said it was our fault. We threw a party. So it's like, how are you supposed to get out of that? So luckily, I had a good experience with Airbnb. So that's my go-to. And of course, no contracts. Love no contracts. Anyway, for this instance, I paid about $950 for a 2-bedroom, 3rd-floor apartment in Envigado. A very, very nice area. I really liked it. Nice and quiet. It was a little bit more of what me and my girlfriend were looking for. If you're looking, you could probably find something a little less than that, probably half that. If you're willing to do a little searching when you arrive, maybe stay in a hostel and go talk to some of the agencies, or actually look on Facebook groups. That is actually probably the best way to find a good roommate. You can do a little background check on them, and you can kind of scope out the situation. And it's largely dependent on the area. Right now, I'll tell you that probably the coolest areas and the areas that offer a lot of, drinking and restaurants and kind of like less local life, more kind of traveler vibes, I would say, would be Poblado and Laureles. Although in recent years, crime rate has been going up over there, and that's why, me and my girlfriend, we like quiet, we like safe places, so we decided Envigado. But to be honest, Envigado was a little bit sleepy for us too. So that was kind of the pros and cons about the whole situation. If I was to book again, I would probably look for Patio Bonito is an area that I think would be really cool. It's like close enough to Poblado, but not far away from Envigado. It's kind of like right in between there near Mila de Oro, which is like the super nice area with a lot of you can find anything you're looking for there, like, fresh baked bread, just like tons of really good stuff in that area. I have heard of some people going as far as Sabaneta, but I feel like the more south you go from the Medellin, Poblado area, the older, kind of more expat type people kind of hang out down there. So like as a digital nomad, I would definitely stay near Poblado, that kind of area. I would say the second biggest deal for you guys would probably be finding a good place with internet. Unfortunately, South America is notorious for having just incredibly terrible internet. And Medellin, bless its heart, is no different. I found some places that offered good internet, but I had trouble finding reliable, stable, like consistent speeds, even in the highest, best co-working spot. Okay, so there's two that I used. One was called Calfee, which is in Envigado. It was fairly inexpensive and offered 10 up and 30 to 60 down. Rates were about $35 for a week or $100 for a month. It had a really nice staff that were hanging out there. Really nice lounge area. They offered coffee, refrigerator, kitchen. The people that worked there were a little bit more on my vibe. They were kind of freelancers, media, drop shippers. I don't know. They were just kind of like this mix of creatives that I enjoy in a co-working space. And then the next one I use, since I do a lot of video uploads and downloads, I have super heavy days where I'm sending out big files. So I needed a place that had really high speeds. So I went to Tinko, which was a little bit more expensive. It came at about $20 a day for daily use. You could also buy the monthly. It has a really stupid token system that I really hated and I didn't get into, but essentially it's like $200 for like a month's worth of tokens that will get you, I think, working in there like 5 days a week. There was definitely some pros and cons about this place for me. It was super professional. I mean, it had all the bells and whistles, good coffee, watermelon water, some super schmancy stuff. And the clientele there were a little bit more professional. Everybody was nicely dressed. It felt like a 9 to 5 office, which isn't usually my jam. I found a lot of people there were actually business people, which, as creative, it's kind of, there's this duality between, creatives who run their business and then also business people who either work for a team or own their own business. I don't know. There's a difference and you can tell the vibe. And the Tinko was more of a professional business vibe. One thing I actually absolutely loved about Tinko was the view. I think it was on the 20th floor. You had a view of all of Medellin and all of its beautiful rolling green hills. Man, taking breaks at that place was amazing. You could just look out into the horizon. It was awesome. So now that you've figured out where you're gonna sit and work, it's probably time that you figure out how you're gonna get out and move. So looking at some gyms in Medellin, I was actually surprised that gyms in Medellin are legit. Like, they are super, I would say, capitalized, Americanized. I mean, we're talking Globo Gym. Mom and pop shops are far and few between, and they're usually really kind of low end. There's no medium gyms like for the average working man. I feel like it's either these small gyms without a lot of equipment and then these mega Globo gyms. So with that, it actually became pretty frustrating because with these big gyms, they do contracts and they do maintenance fees, and they don't like people coming in and just wanting to buy a month. They want you to sign you on these huge contracts. So for me, as somebody who's going to be there a month or two, it was really difficult to find a gym that would work with me. So there's 3 gyms I looked at: Action Fitness, Smart Fit, and Body Tech. Body Tech being totally expensive. It was like $70 per month when I asked them about how much they would charge me per month. Action Fitness had a ton of promotions and they had some good pricing. They were pretty reasonable and it didn't feel like they were selling me anything. The floor was nice and open, lots of equipment, lots of new equipment. Really like that. I actually eventually went with Action Fitness. And then there was another one called Smart Fit, which I also really liked, but they wanted, they had maintenance fees and all this other fees to go with it, startup fee and stuff like that. So I kind of said no to that. So the price for Action Fitness was about $59 for the quarter, $105 for the semester. And if you wanted to do the year long, it was $176. Smart Fit was about $26 for the sign up fee, $26 for the maintenance fee, which was charged on the third month, and $18 per month standard rate. And Body Tech, we're not even going to talk about them because yeah, I don't like Body Tech. So now that you've burned all those calories, you're going to want to fill back up with some really good stuff. Not any stuff, some really good stuff. So right off the bat, I'm going to tell you that Buena Mesa in Envigado is probably the most reasonable and the highest quality that you'll get. Yes, there is some amazing food in Poblado around the Yaris Park area, but that area is going to be a little bit more expensive. However, Laureles there was some really good spots there that were reasonable and very good as well. One of my favorite places, if you guys like craft beer, was Punta Arenas. It's a nice little craft beer place. Beautiful beer, beautiful. They're amazing and they're a family business, and go give them your support. They're awesome. A typical sit-down restaurant will cost you anything from 18 to 22. Yes, it can go higher, but on average, and how my girlfriend and I usually go out and eat, it costs about that much. That also includes drink and dessert typically, so not a bad deal at all. Just to give you an example, this is not a great example, but we were at the mall and we went into a Japanese restaurant, a bento box restaurant, and for 2 drinks and 2 bento boxes, it cost us a total of $18. Another example, going into like something like Starbucks, getting yourself a grande cold brew, or actually no, the venti cold brew, cost around $2. I think back in the States, that would be over $5 for sure, definitely, between $5 and $6. Also, there is a delivery service called Rappi. It's an app, download it. It's really addicting, but it's basically home deliveries, grocery shopping, and even people will go to the ATM for you. It's pretty cool. So yeah, Medellin Colombia is a really cool area if you like to go out and eat. Very economical and very good food. I found a lot of really good food. But if you're somebody like me who loves to cook and stay in and Netflix and chill over a nice home cooked meal, then you're gonna wanna know the grocery shopping prices. But since I cannot memorize all those groceries, I wrote it down and I'm gonna like recite it to you guys from a grocery trip when I was there. So on this day, I went to Éxito, which is a grocery store. First off, let's start off with some bread at $1. 80 cents croissants with cheese, 60 cents for butter croissants, 75 cents pastel de guayaba, 80 cents per pound for maracuya, which is like a really awesome passion fruit, 30 cents for mangoes, $2.50 for 11 pounds of oranges, 80 cents per pound of avocados, 30 cents for some papaya, 60 cents per pound on guanabara. And I know you have no idea what this fruit is, but it is so good. You have to try it. $5.25 for olive oil for about a half liter from Spain. $3.60 for you Jiffy lovers out there. But one thing that was super interesting is that it's $5.50 for crunchy. And the only difference is creamy and crunchy. Did not understand. Did not get it. Maybe they hate on crunchy peanut butter lovers. I don't know. $7.50 for organic soy, $3.30 for coconut milk, $3 for almond milk, $3.30 for bolognese sauce, or if you like the pesto, that will be about $5. A little bit expensive, but kind of feel like it's the same in the States. $1.20 for 2 pounds of pasta, $2.20 for a pound of wheat pasta, $12 for aguardiente, which is a local anise spirit. It's actually really good, like really good. $2.80 for 2.5 dozen of eggs or 30 eggs. $1.50 for 3/4 of a pound of queso fresco. And if you guys know what queso fresco, or you've never had, that kind of cheese down in Mexico or anything like that, it takes a little bit of time to get used to if you're not used to it. But for me, with my Latin family, I've grown up with it. It's really good. But yeah, it's not like the cheese you're used to probably. Now, also what I found really interesting is canned beans was I felt kind of super expensive. It was $2.50 for a can. Come to find out, a lot of people just cook this at home. Like, nobody buys canned beans, so that's probably why. Except for me. $3.30 for a 6-pack of the local brew called Aguila. For you Scotch lovers out there, Balvenie 14 year costs about $90. And if you're more on the Jack Daniels train, 15 bucks for a bottle. And if you're like me, it's all about the craft beer. This company was my favorite. I would definitely recommend the Pale Ale, $3.20 for a 3-pack. If you're into veggie burgers, they don't have a lot of choices, but they did have these ones at $3.80 for 4 patties. $2 for 6 liters of water or 1.5 gallons. $1 for veggie oil. $2.60 for 6.5 pounds of rice. $1.50 for some juice. This was actually one of my favorite things. I absolutely love, like, fruit was just so inexpensive, and I love just getting juices all day. They were between $1 and $1.50. They also, a really nice thing in this area are these kind of like cornbread, deep fried, meat-filled empanadas. So good. And cool, that's it. All right, now I have a little bit of a bonus category, just kind of like miscellaneous shopping. So while I was there, Nina and I got a project to go over to Pakistan, but unfortunately we didn't have a whole bunch of warm clothes. So we had to go to this place called Decathlon and check out some of their selection. I would definitely recommend it. They don't have specialized gear, but they have a lot of the basic stuff. So a few items I needed was a quick dry towel, which cost about $4.50. And then I needed kind of like a thermal base layer, which ran about $11.50. And a thin long sleeve, almost like rash guard type of item that was about $9. And this really sweet yellow jacket, which was about $40. Yeah. All right, guys, so that's pretty much it. I'm just gonna leave you with kind of the sum or the numbers of 1 month for Nina and I to live in Medellin. For the month of December 2019, it cost us about $1,550 or about $775 per person. I have this really cool app here on my phone called Money Lovers, which I use to track the whole thing. So 64% were rent, 25% was eating out in restaurants, 6% health and fitness, 4% entertainment, and that's it. So thanks for joining today. And overall, I really had a great time in Medellin and I enjoyed the city for what it was. I don't think I could stay much longer because I'm just not a city person. But for somebody who's a digital nomad looking for a spot to get some work done and enjoy how cool Medellin is, then yeah, for sure. All right, guys, I hope you got everything you needed to come to Medellin and enjoy your digital nomad lifestyle. If you like this video, like and subscribe, and remember, get into getting out. We'll see you guys in the next video.